Ecuador's National Assembly approved the creation of a truth commission to investigate the events that took place during the national strike. Former Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva continues to lead in voting invitations for the October presidential elections. On Wednesday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov paid official visit to Vietnam. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. Ecuador's National Assembly approved the creation of a truth commission to investigate the event that took place during the national strike and to provide reparation for the victims. With a unanimous vote of 110 Assembly members, the Parliament recommended to the Ombudsman's Office that the truth commissions be constituted with the preparation of independent experts representing social organizations as well as national and international human rights organizations. The NEA points out that the purpose of the commission will be to establish trust, justice, and reparation for the possible victims who shown evidence of human rights violations during the repressions by the government of Guillermo Lasso during the mobilizations of indigenous organizations. In Venezuela, the Attorney General's office confirmed that the assassination and disappearances of revolutionary leader Carlos Lanz was ordered by his wife, Maggie Kumare. The chief public prosecutor, Tarek William Saab, confirmed that apprehension of 13 people charged with kidnapping and murder of a Venezuelan teacher. During the press conference, the prosecutors points out that Glenn Castellanos admitted having participated in a murder by order of the revolutionary leader's wife.
Glenn Castellanos admits in his confession that he himself participated in the murder of Carlos Lanz by direct order of Maggie Kumare. Let's not forget to identify the figure.
In addition, the prosecutors confirmed that at least 13 people have been apprehended for their involvement in the kidnapping and murder of Professor Carlos Lanz.
In this sense, I could summarize that at this moment we have, let's put it this way, the detention of 13 people. Some of them as suspects and others as defendants. 13 people. For their involvement in the kidnapping and subsequent murder of Professor Carlos Lanz.
On Wednesday, the Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro regretted the death of OPEC Secretary General Mohamed Barkindem. On his official Twitter account, the Venezuelan president expressed his deepest regret for the irreparable physical specter of Mohamed Barkindem and described him as an extraordinary human being and leader who knew how to bring OPEC to a safe port. Also, President Maduro sent his solitude to Barkindem's family and to the people of Nigeria. In Chile, the campaign for the constitutional referendum begins after the delivery of the project for a new constitution. Chilean citizens will have the opportunity next September the 4th to choose whether to approve or reject a new Magna Carta in the country. According to the Chilean Electoral Services, several political parties, civil organizations, and parliamentarians will have 3 days to register for the constitutional referendum campaign. According to the electoral body, for the first time in the nation's history, inmates will be allowed to vote. The campaign begins after a year of work by the Constitutional Convention, which delivered a proposal for a new constitution to the former National Congress on Monday. And in Mexico, with the creation of 60,000 jobs in June, the number reaches 893,000 in the last 12 months. In the meantime, the average contribution wage grew at an annual rate of 11.1%, implying the highest variation in the last 20 years, according to the Mexican Social Security Institute, as reported last Tuesday. This annual job creation in June is the highest for comparable periods since records have been kept. As for permanent position, the report explained that it reached 973,998 in the same period, making it the largest annual increase in history for the month of June. The economic sector with the highest employment growth are transport and communications with 12.6%, construction 5.5%, and commerce 5.3%. In the United States, the state of New Jersey on Tuesday approved together the new laws restricting the possession of firearms, despite a Supreme Court ruling the right to carry weapons in public last month. After New Jersey State Governor Phil Murphy signed the new regulations, the state joins New York City and others like Massachusetts and California, which currently have severe restrictions in place. The measures provide for the gun permit, training, registration of every gun purchased in other states, and a ban of 50 caliber weapons. The ruling now replaces the New York State law, which requires gun license to show good causes to carry a gun. Heads of governments of the Caribbean communities agreed in the context of the bilateral relationship with the United States to urge from the removal of sanctions on Venezuela. The aim is to allow countries in the region to benefit from the Petro-Caribbean initiative and for process on the exploitation of cross-border natural gas filed between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. In the framework of the 43rd regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Governments of the Caribbean Community, members state also discussed the process of the agricultural system agenda, climate financing, and security issues. The Caribbean heads of state agreed to take decisions on the elimination of non-tariff barriers on agricultural products in order to ensure food security in the region. The meeting was held from July the 3rd to the 5th this week. I will take a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back. Former Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva continues to lead in voting intentions for the October presidential elections. Further data pool released on Wednesday morning shows stability in an electoral scenario, with former President Lula da Silva leading the voting intentions with 44% of support. On the other hand, the poll's results indicate that current President Jair Bolsonaro has a 36% of support among those surveillance. Likewise, the study also reveals that the former president has a big advantage over Bolsonaro among women, young people, and to a low-income population. And a surge in death and COVID-19 infections in some Latin American and Caribbean countries, Brazil is on its way to take the leading position again as one of the most affected countries in Latin America. In the last 24 hours, Brazil has registered 369 COVID-19 related deaths, the highest since March. 485 figures. The South American country, one of the hardest hit by the pandemic, registered to date 672,499 deaths and more than 32.5 million infections, after recording 74,591 positive cases this Tuesday. In spite of these numbers, the vaccination plan is considered by experts as effective, avoiding further complications in those affected. However, experts recognize the worsening of the situation and reiterate the need to return to the measures that help to lessen the pandemic effects in a way that is still today the country with the second highest death toll in the region.
We return to a sad world leadership, but beyond that, it is necessary to resume the mandatory use of masks in closed environments such as school and leisure establishments, such as theaters, cinemas, and others.
The government of France confirmed its intentions to reanalyze the electricity campaign Electricity of France. The French Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne indicating that this state intention is on 100% of the electricity campaign's capital to reinforce its capacity and launch nuclear energy projects. The announcement comes as the electricity group is facing an economic crisis as well as failures in the constructions of new infrastructure. The French state owns almost 84% of EDF's shares, 1% belongs to the workers and remains 15% are institutional and individual shares. Parallel to this, rail workers joined a strike by airlines and energy sectors workers to demand higher wages aimed at economic crisis in the country. French inflation reaches a record of 6.5% per year in June, driven by a rise in foods and energy prices. The French National Railroad Company, SNCF, reported that the demonstration caused the cancellation of almost a third of intercity and regional train services. Boris Johnson on Wednesday refuses to quit as a British Prime Minister despite a slew of resignations from his scandal-laden government. The Prime Minister's grip on power appears to be split following 10 short minutes on Tuesday night when Rishi Sunak resigned as Finance Prime Minister and Sajid Javid quit as Health Secretary. Both said they could no longer tolerate a culture of scandals that has stuck the Prime Minister there for months. Johnson has suffered an exodus of ministers in the last 24 hours, amounting to a total of 38 so far. Among the latest presents the resignation are Employment Minister Demis David, Minister for Safeguarding Rachel McClellan, and Housing PPS Duncan Baker. At the moment, Boris Johnson's rule out snap elections as resignation none.
I continued to give the benefit of the doubt. And now this week again, we have reason to question the truth and integrity of what we've all been told. And at some point, we have to conclude that enough is enough. I believe that point is now. But I do fear that the reset button can only work so many times. There's only so many times you can turn that machine on and off before you realize that something is fundamentally wrong.
Now we have more news coming up after this financial break, so don't go away. Welcome back. On Wednesday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov paid official visit to Vietnam. Earlier on his visit to the Asian country, Communist Party General's Secretariat and Russian Foreign Minister stressed the importance for the two countries to strengthen their comprehensive strategic partnership. The leader told the visitors about the important achievements made by Vietnamese people during the process of electoral renewal. Sergei Lavrov and his party praised Vietnam's political position and little role of reiterated that Russia attached importance to the strategic partnership with Vietnam. In the same context, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov paid his respect on Hanoi to Vietnamese revolutionary leader Ho Chi Minh by laying out with his mausoleum. His trip comes as Russia and Vietnam marks 10 years since they expanded their relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Russia was a close supporter of Hanoi's government during the Vietnam War against the capitalism South and its Americans and other Western allies. Later in the week, Lavrov is scheduled to attend a meeting in Indonesia of foreign ministers from the group of 20 leading rich and developing countries. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with his counterpart, Philippines Foreign Secretary Enrique Molano, for bilateral talks with both sides acknowledging the security situation in the region has become more complex. In the same context, U.S. Secretary State Anthony Blinken will hold a rare meeting with China's foreign minister seeking to contain tensions, but will shun his Russian counterpart at a conference in Bali this week. Blinken will arrive on Thursday in the Indonesian resort island for talks of foreign minister of a group of 20, the club of major communities that still includes Russia. The State Department said Blinken will meet for the first time since October with Chinese Foreign Minister, one of the string of recent meetings between the world's two largest economic powers and high tensions on issues including Taiwan. More than 800 inmates fled a prison in Abuja, Nigeria, on Wednesday following an attack attributed by the authorities to Boko Haram terrorist militants. The Interior Minister confirmed the events occurred in parallel to another ambush on an adventure convoy of Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari, who was not present. According to Interior Minister, the mass escape of prisoners allegedly released at the behest of Boko Haram highlights the security challenges facing Nigeria, especially in other regions where the armed insurgents and criminal gangs are numerous. According to Belgrade, the Abuja prison was housing about 900 inmates at the time of incident. One security officer was killed and 3 others were injured in the assault. A summit was held in Luanda between Rwandan President Paul Kagame and Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi and Angolan President João Lourenço, who is mediating the talks aimed at surging violence in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. The Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda have agreed to a de-escalation process following weeks of rising tensions over rebel fighting in eastern DRC, and Congolese presidency said after mediating talks. But talks mediator Angolan President João Lourenço went further announcing a ceasefire. Violence has flared between the Congolese army and the M23 rebels and is ongoing. The DRC has repeatedly accused Rwanda of backing the M23, a charge the Sahel Central African countries always denied. The head of the Economic Community of West African State, ECOWAS, met with Burkina Faso's military board to assess efforts to secure guarantees for restoring civilian rule. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Burkina Faso said that the 2 years timetable towards civilian rule agreed with ECOWAS was purposed by the West African country's military board and not imposed by the regional bloc. During visiting Burkina Faso's capital for the second time in the month, ECOWAS mediator Mohamed Issoufou had praised over leaders Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba and his government for their openness to dialogue. Fuel prices soared in Ethiopia on Wednesday after the government could subsidize exacerbating economic hardship for the population, which is already struggling with high inflation. There are long queues at a gas station in the capital Addis Ababa, and drivers reported fuel shortages as they tried to fill up their tanks. Gasoline prices have shot up by 30%, while the federal government, which has already raised prices in May, plans to gradually leave fuel subsidized, according to the Addis Fortune Businesses newspaper. For its part, the Ministry of Commerce said the cost of fuel for Ethiopia's consumers should be almost double if calculated at current world prices. Fuel, food, and other commodity prices have turned around the world due to the conflict in Ukraine, affecting vulnerable countries in Africa and elsewhere. South Africa is once again experiencing massive blackouts across the country, scheduled on a rolling basis as the only solution to avoid a total collapse of the country's deficient power grid. A new round of power cuts, which has hit the country hard with the sixth phase of grid disconnection, has led some quarters of again to again call for the separation and privatization of the country's power utility, Eskom. The Congress of South African Trade Unions opposed calls for the unbundling and privatization of state-owned power utilities, saying that they are misplaced and pointless, while agreed that the deterioration of the company poses a greater risk of our economy. Ideological fantasies of privatization will not solve the energy crisis. Pakistani officials said on Wednesday 3 days of monsoon rainfalls, at least 17 people died and damaged dozens of homes across southern Pakistan. The Provincial Disaster Management Agency said streets and homes were flooded in various parts of Quetta, the capital of Balochistan province. Tareen Redman, Minister of Climate Change, told a news conference in Islamabad that 77 people were killed in rain-related incidents since June. Every year, many cities in Pakistan struggle to cope with the annual monsoon deluge, drawing criticisms about poor government's planning. The season runs from July through September. teleSUR English continues to grow. Its signal now reaches Europe, but you can order it from your cable dealer or tune it yourself. These parameters that you see on the screen are in place since July the 1st, and quite soon, further changes will be implemented for the signal in the Middle East and Africa. Now, more than ever, the world connects to us, and our stories are being heard all around the globe. This news multi-platform will continue providing truthful content to oppose the hegemonic media's narrative and our faithfulness to our audience. And with that story, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. teleSUR English, I'm from the South. I'm Ana Marrero, and thank you for watching.